Hey folks, Revel Brewer here. We're out here in the woods. We're at my old log cabin. We're way back on an old logging road. A couple miles in. Hasn't been an ATV truck or anything up the road today. It's very quiet back here. No power, no running water, just the way I like it. And why are we here today? Well, we're here for some homebrew video reviews. This is going to be my intro for the next couple shows. We're going to be filming 2 reviews, Mangrove Jack in the cabin. As you can see, the dog's anxious to get at her. She's not getting any beer. No, you're not. Maybe a little bit of steak later. As you can see, it's a beautiful day. I got the wood stove. I got the beans almost ready to go, but it's still pretty warm out, so I'm going to save them for supper. I got the shortwave radio station tuned up. I got the beer. But this is where the beer reviews are going to be held, right here. And look at this view from the big window. Got the coffee pot to warm up, and look at that. A little stream in the back, and we're going to get right down to her. Anyways, I hope everybody out there is doing well during this craziness, COVID days. I just had to get out of the city. You know, it may come, I don't know what's going to happen, but it may come down to actually, you know, if things go crazy in the city, at least I have this little cabin in the woods to get away from the mayhem and, live a very simple life out here. No water, no electricity, but it's a beautiful spot. Anyway, stay tuned. We got some good reviews coming up. Alright folks, so here we are at the cabin. I have a new Chromebook. I have no idea how this video is going to turn out. I can see myself in the screen. I got beer, I got a glass, a whole garden glass. Maybe not right for this style, just because I got a classic bitter. Actually, okay, I didn't really plan this very good. I'm going to give you guys a shot. This is outside the big window. Beautiful day here. We're out, like I said, at the cabin. And let me get the box. I should have done this earlier. However, it's just right behind me, so it turns out good. This is Mangrove Jack's Classic Bitter. There's the side of the box, there's the back. It's one of these new series that they have. It's the Australian series, and I found it's pretty good beer so far, the ones I've tried. So let's give this classic bitter. As you can see on the box, it looks like an old traditional bitter. It's not dark. It's not as dark as the Coopers. It's a nice light bitter. Let's open it up. I'm not sure how clear it's going to be because we transported it out here. But so it's probably shaken up a bit. But let me give it a go. A little fizz on it, and we'll give it a pour and see what we get out of it. This glass is not, as they say, beer clean. I just cleaned it with detergent because it's been out here all winter. But as you can see, look at that. Nothing wrong with that. Little head, I'd say a couple fingers. 1 finger maybe. 1 thick finger. There we go. But as always, the proof is in the taste. So let's give it a go and see what we got. It's a nice beer. It's nice, very clean. It's just it's fairly mild. It's mild. If you've tried the Cooper's bitter, I think even the old Mangrove Jack's bitter was a little bit more kick. This is actually a very mild beer. And I think, actually, to be honest, I know this is the Australian series, but I know in England, generally, your bitter, it's actually supposed to be a very mild beer. This, there's not much bitterness to it to speak of. Yeah, there's not much in it. There's not much in it. This is like this is what I would imagine is a session beer, and I know that's what's popular in a lot of the pubs over in England. They just sit down and they'll go in and get a couple pints of bitter, and you probably walk out without much of a buzz on, or probably not much. I mean, I brewed this my standard way. I added 1 kit. Now this one I added in the Mutton's the brew enhancer, the powder. It's like half dextrose and half malt extract. And a few people were asking me, well, can you still use my old traditional way that I brewed the beer, which is with the liquid glucose and the pound and a half of liquid malt extract? Absolutely. I've used the muttons a couple times because just the brew store that's really close to me, like a few minute walk down the road, that's what they carry. And I know it's fresh because it's got the date on it. So sometimes instead of going to my main brew store, which is like a 10-minute drive away, I'll just walk down the road and go to the closer one. It's a little bit smaller, and I don't like going there too much because I don't. Well, it doesn't matter. No one knows where it is. A lot of their stuff is expired and they keep it on the shelves, and I don't like that. It's a low volume store for beer stuff. It's mostly a wine sort of thing, or it's brew your own beer sort of thing, and they go with the Fester brews. So a lot of the Cooper's kits and the Mangrove Jack and the Mangrove Jack ones are fine, but the muttons, some of them are outdated, and for me, I like to get the fresher stuff. That's all. But their muttons enhancer is fresh. Anyways, let's just have a chat because there's not much to say about this beer. It's just kind of Mangrove Jack quality. It's this is really a session beer. If you just want a lawnmower beer, maybe I'd say you could just sit down and plow these back. But let's have a talk. I just it's. I know everybody is going through this, and it's not just in Canada. It's not just in the United States. All my viewers in Europe, everywhere. There's no part of the world that's untouched by this COVID stuff that's going on, and I don't know what's going to happen. Nobody knows what's going to happen. I hope everybody that's viewing this, my subscribers, people in the beer community, that we talk back and forth, that everyone's staying safe. It's a tough thing, and it's like I'm out here. I had to get away. We're out in nature here. We're miles away from any other living human beings. We're about, I'd say, it's an hour and 20-minute drive outside the city. I was lucky enough to get this little log cabin and property for a very, well, it's less than a used car would cost, a good used car would cost, because we're not on the water. Some people are obsessed with being on the water. We're inland here. I do have a little stream. You probably, I don't know if you can hear it or not, but it's down there that borders it. And, I don't know. I think there may be a movement afoot now after all this that people are going to get back to a simpler way of living. I'm not knocking cities, and I know that people are there to work, and everybody needs a job, and I understand that. But I think we might be seeing a movement afoot to get back to basics, get back to nature. Maybe people growing their own food, if not growing their own food, supporting local farmers. And I mean, this is already happening, but I think this is going to be a real eye-opener. We have to do things sustainably. It's just, I think things are really going to change when we come out the other side of this, and I think they have to. Just in terms of sustainability for us, in terms of food, environment, water, we have to take a role in making sure that we're supporting our local farmers. We have to make sure we're supporting ourselves. This corporate stuff, like they're talking about now, some of the big meat packers, a lot of them in the States and out west here in Canada, are closing down. We've got to get back to our local farmers. We need more local, less corporate. That's my view. Anyway, I don't want to get political. I don't have much to say about the beers. But as you can see, it's a beautiful looking beer and very light. It's a very light looking beer. So anyways, a classic bitter. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. Because it's just it's plain. It's a very plain beer. There's just not much in it. There's not much flavor to it. It's very plain. Like a lot of the I like the bittering in a lot of the Mangrove Jack kits. This doesn't have that much to speak of. Anyways, hopefully this video turns out well. Like I said, Mangrove Jack, classic bitter. And we'll be back with another homebrew review from the cabin. I got another one with me, a golden ale. So that'll be coming up in the future. Stay tuned. And everybody, stay safe. Thank you for all the comments and emails. I read them all. I love them. And thanks for tuning in. Keep on brewing. Cheers.